Hare Krishna. Welcome you all on our anti-episode book reading. So today we'll continue our book reading from 69 and onwards. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschadi Dekhatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay. So we will start reading chapter 69. That is, Nārada Muni visits the Lord Krishna's palaces in Dvārakā. So this chapter relates how Nārada Muni was amazed to see the household pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna and how he offered prayers to the Lord. After killing the demon Narakasura, Lord Krishna had simultaneously married 16,000 maidens, and says this Narada wanted to observe the Lord's diverse activities in this unique family situation. Thus he went to Dvārakā. Narada entered one of 16,000 palaces and saw goddesses Rukmini personally rendering menial service to Sri Krishna. Despite her being in the company of thousands of maidservants, as soon as Lord Krishna noticed Narada, he got up from his bed, offered obeisances to the sage, and seated him on his own seat. Then the Lord bathed Narada's feet and sprinkled the water on his own head. Such was exemplary behavior of the Lord. So this is the way Krishna teaching us the grihastha should be, treating the celebrity persons at their home. After conversing with Lord for a short while, Narada went to another of his palaces, where the sages saw Sri Krishna playing a dice with his queen and Uddhava. Going from there to another palace, he found Lord Krishna coddling his infant children. In another palace, he saw him preparing to take a bath. In another, performing fire sacrifices. In another, feeding Brahmanas. And in another, eating the remnants left by Brahmanas. In one palace, the Lord was performing noontime rituals. In another, quietly chanting the Gayatri mantra. In another, sleeping on his bed. In another, consulting with his ministers. And in yet another, playing in water with his female companions. Somewhere the Lord was giving charity to Brahmanas. In another place, he was joking and laughing with his consort. In another palace, he was meditating on the super soul, whereas he was serving his spiritual master. In another palace, he was arranging for the marriages of his sons and daughters. Somewhere else, he was going out to hunt animals, and elsewhere, he was moving about in a disguise to find out what the citizens were thinking. So, this is the way Narada Muni is actually seeing how Krishna is engaged in his household life. So, as we all know from previous discussion, that Krishna has expanded himself into 10,000 and 16,000, 16,108 of himself. And so, Narada Muni could see him doing different activities at the same time. So, having seen all these, Narada addressed Lord Krishna. Only because I have served your lotus feet can I understand these varieties of your yoga maya potencies, which ordinary living being bewildered by illusion cannot begin to perceive. Thus, I am most fortunate, and I simply desire to travel all over the three worlds, chanting the glories of your pastimes, which verify all the world. Again, here Narada Muni said that I could understand these varieties of your yoga maya potency only because of his mercy, because he has served his lotus feet. He has gained the mercy, so he could understand it. Very nice point here is, without the mercy of Krishna, and that we can get by serving the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas or the great acharyas. And when we get that mercy, we can understand these pastimes very clearly. So Sri Krishna asked Narada not to be confused by his vision of Lord's transcendental opulences, and he described to him the purpose of his appearance in this world. He then honored the sage properly, according to religious principles, and Narada departed, continuously meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Narada Muni is always do meditation on Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by the discussion, he departed. So that is how we end chapter 69, and let's go to chapter 70, where is Lord Krishna's daily activities. So in a brief, we have seen the activities what Narada Muni has seen of Lord Krishna doing, and we will see more on this chapter. This chapter describes Lord Sri Krishna's daily activities and two proposals placed before him, one by a messenger from Dvārakā and another by the sage Nārada. In the early hours of the morning, Lord Krishna would rise from bed and bathe himself in a clear water. After executing the dawn rituals and other religious duties, he would offer oblations into the sacred fire and the Gayatri Mantra, worship and pay a tribute to demigods, sages, and forefathers, and then offer respects to learned Brahmanas. Then he would touch auspicious substances, decorate himself with celestial ornament, and gratify his subjects by giving them whatever they desired. So the Lord's chariot driver, Dvārakā, would bring his chariot, and the Lord would mount it and drive to the royal assembly hall. When he would take his seat in the assembly, surrounded by the Yadavas, he would appear like the moon surrounded by the circle of stars called nakshatras. Birds would recite his praises to the accompaniment of drums, cymbals, veenas, and other musical instruments. On one occasion, the doorkeeper escorted a messenger into the assembly hall. The messenger offered prostrated obeisances to the Lord, and then, standing with joined palms, addressing him, O Lord, Janardana has captured 20,000 kings. Sorry, O Lord, Jarasandha has captured 20,000 kings and is holding them prisoners. Please do something, for these kings are all your surrendered devotees. So one of the messengers came and said him that the Jarasandha is actually has captured 20,000 kings and he has made them prisoners. Just at that moment, Narada Muni appeared. Lord Sri Krishna and all the members of the assembly stood up and offered obeisance to Narada by bowing their heads. The sages accepted a seat, and then Lord Krishna gently questioned him. Since you travel all over the universe, please inform us what the Pandavas brothers are planning to do. Narada then praised the Supreme Lord and replied, King Yudhishthira desires to perform Rajasuya sacrifice. For this, he requests your sanctions and presence. Many demigods and illustrious kings will come just to see you. Understanding that the Yadavas wanted him to defeat Jarasandha, Lord Krishna asked his wise minister Uddhava to determine which of the two matters at hand, the defeat of Jarasandha or Rajasuya sacrifice, should be attended first. And chapter 71, the Lord travels to Indraprastha. So this chapter relates how Lord Krishna followed Uddhava's advice and went to Indraprastha, where the Pandavas celebrated his arrival with great festivity. So why is Uddhava Knowing the Lord Krishna's inner desire, advised the Lord as follows. We have seen in the previous chapter, Lord Krishna asked question to Uddhava. So Uddhava is answering now. So by conquering all the direction and then performing the Rajasuya sacrifices, King Yudhishthir will fulfill all his purposes, defeating Jarasandha, protecting those who have taken shelter of you, and executing the Rajasuya Yagya. Thus the Yadavas' powerful enemy will be destroyed and the imprisoned kings freed, and both deeds will glorify you. King Jarasandha can be killed only by Bhima, and since Jarasandha is very devoted to the Brahmanas, Bhima should disguise himself as a Brahmana and go to Jarasandha and beg a fight from him. Then in your presence, Bhima will defeat the demon. So just to defeat Jarasandha was actually he got a boon that his body, if you taught the body, the two babies actually they have joined, and Jara means the body and Sandha means connection. So the two bodies has been joined into one, and that is called as Jarasandha. So as describes here, he can only be killed by Bhima, and Krishna has actually planned these things, and he went to in a race of Brahmanas while King Jarasandha was coming from temple, and he also to give donations to the all the Brahmanas, and these three, Krishna, Balram, and Arjuna, Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna, they went to beg something over there, and when Jarasandha came, they asked that we want to have a fight with you, and then Jarasandha thought, okay, I will choose Bhima to fight with me. And then Narada Muni, the Yadava elders, and the Lord Krishna praised Uddhava's plans, and Lord Krishna proceeded to mount his chariot and head for Indraprastha. Followed by his devoted queens, soon Lord Krishna arrived in that city. Hearing of the Lord's arrival, King Yudhishthira immediately came out of his city to greet him. Yudhishthira repeatedly embraced Lord Krishna, losing external consciousness in his custody. Then Bhishma Dev, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadev, and others each embraced or bowed down to him, as was appropriate. After Lord Krishna had properly greeted everyone, he entered the city as a fanfare of many musical instruments played and reverential hymns were chanted. The women of the city scattered flowers down from the rooftops, remarking on the extreme good fortune of Lord's queen. Sri Krishna entered the royal palace and offered respects to Queen Kunti Devi, who embraced his nephew, and Draupadi and Subhadra offered obeisance to the Lord. Kunti Devi then requested Draupadi to worship Lord Krishna's wife. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, gratified King Yudhishthira by remaining there for some months. During this, he enjoyed strolling here and there. He would drive on the chariot with Arjuna, followed by many warriors and soldiers. So, as we see, Krishna has actually entered the Indraprastha with his beloved wives, and those all are being very much welcomed by King Yudhishthira. And that is how we end today's sessions. We will be reading continuing from 72 tomorrow. So we have just 8 days to finish our book reading sessions. Thank you everyone for being with me, and I hope you are enjoying this session. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.